Monday Night Raw. Do not care.
One day my champ will come.
What, Champa?
Yes.
Right, alright. John Finlay. I'm not even doing sure I'm fucking singing. Inspector Finlay.
Are you good? Are we good? Are we go? Okay, on.
Go Finlay, go.
Okay, I'll go. All right. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Last Minute Kickout for this review of Royal Rumble 2021. I am John Turbo Finlay here with our magnanimous bunch of lads here with Kevin the Ava.
Hi.
And Pete Titans Creed Nevercove.
Yo.
And oh wait, sorry. Before I continue, lads, it's like I need to. I'm sorry. I should have done this before the recording. It's like just that's a good thing there.
He's getting props.
It's a nice. Oh wait,
people.
hold on a second. There's something that's missing from there.
Yes.
Too. Yes, because as per the predictions that we had prior to the Royal Rumble, I, John Turbo Finlay, have been rechristened Predictions Champion here on LMKO. 3 to 2 to 1.
3 to 2 to 2.
Oh, 3 to 2 to 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't undersell our failure, please.
Yeah.
I wish it was 3-2-1 because that way we could have just got, and then one of you could have gone. But
get
no.
in the dusty bin.
So with that all taken care of, so boys, what do you think of Royal Rumble 2021? What's your general thoughts?
I think
Pete,
it was a good pay-per-view. Would have been better if I was right, but it's a good pay-per-view.
It's very difficult to be sympathetic with you, Pete, after you dabbed in the intro.
I don't know what you're talking about. Those audio listeners can't see a thing.
If dabs had a sound,
it was spared.
Yeah. And yourself, Kev, you thought it was a good
show.
All right. Fair dues.
I think a bit less of it than everyone else, it seems.
Well, with that general thoughts at to kick us off, let's get into the card where we had a pre-show match as always. Any of you watch it?
Yep.
Sadly, I missed out on it.
Nope, in my case. So tell us about it, Pete.
Cool. A match happened. Lacey Evans predictably interrupted and cost the match. It was, I mean, I don't know what you wanted to do. Like, we had more Charlotte and Shayna falling over each other and not doing very well. Nia Jax nearly looking like she injured some people, and Asuka trying to deal with stuff, but it's just Lacey Evans, the Lacey Evans, Ric Flair, Charlotte Flair. Like, in case you didn't have enough of Charlotte Flair versus Lacey Evans, or, disagreeing with her dad, now we've got all three of those things continuing.
Can I just wind back to a previous LMKO show, which was a previous Royal Rumble, where I think Lacey made her first appearance in the Rumble and came face to face with Charlotte, and I said that, hey, Lacey looks like Charlotte, but just a bit younger and shorter. They could be sisters. Oh, this feud.
It's the monkey paw, isn't it? It's curled its finger.
I mean, what would you have wished for the monkey paw to crawl?
I mean, it's Charlotte versus Ivanka. Charlotte versus Lacey. No.
I mean, we're at this point, and I get this feeling a lot where, especially when I'm watching AEW as well, and it's just blonde female wrestler, another blonde female wrestler. There's so many of them.
I know it's just a sea of blonde.
There are so many women on that roster, as proven by the Royal Rumble. Why do we have to have Charlotte versus Lacey again? Why?
Well, Charlotte's back now. She's got to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And Rick's about. He's got to do something.
But hey, at least this breaks Asuka away from this monstrosity.
No, because it's going to be Charlotte versus Asuka, and Asuka's going to lose the belt before WrestleMania.
Poor Asuka.
I know. That's why I always fear. That's why I always get tired of everything that's been booking for her. It's like she's a great character and she's a great person and whatnot, and yet she gets shafted in all the storylines every single goddamn time, even when she has a championship on her now.
I'm still, and this is going to sound bad without context, but I'm still like absolutely mind blown by the whole Asuka's working mother and that she's got a kid.
I mean,
that's the first I've heard of.
Yeah, no. Becky Lynch said about it on a podcast that like she's like overwhelmed by like how Asuka does all the stuff she does and then has got a kid at home.
Wow.
Obviously doesn't let her personal life interrupt her work.
It's completely out of there.
Whereas WWE will probably somehow find a way to shoe in Becky and Seth's kid, and we'll hear Michael Cole goes, "Oh my God, it's Minnie Rollins off the top rope!" Ah, they'll find somewhere to shoe it in.
At some point in the future, old man Dominic Mysterio will be having to fight off the Hardy children.
I'm fully.
And Seth and Rollins is.
Oh, and the new authority, the McMahon authority from
Yes.
Well, you know how Becky is always responded to as by Michael Cole as Seth's girlfriend. Do you reckon this one's going to be Seth's child?
Seth's child, yes.
And there's Becky right there, Seth's girlfriend with Seth's child.
Spawn of Rollins. Spawn of Rollins.
Oh boy.
Seth Rollins, redesigned, rebuilt, here to reclaim.
Yeah.
But yes, it was a so-so match. Longer than 2 matches on the main card.
I was gonna say, but one not so much from a bare margin, the other one from a bare margin, and it's like, but hey. So with that said, we'll just move on to the main card with what we were fearing. That didn't happen, thank God. And I was correct and sticking to my guns and hoping that the worst possible scenario would ever actually happen. Drew McIntyre, WWE Champion, versus Goldberg for the title, was quick, easy, simple, and the right person got over.
I mean, it was, well, you're quite lucky because the original idea was for Goldberg to win.
If it hadn't been for that delay.
Apparently backstage, it was changed at the very last second. So
I think
take away from that what you will, but at the last second, and it wasn't Goldberg that made that decision. So,
well, it was gotta be something in terms of like either like a creative decision, thinking that we can't do this again. We can't because as it's been pointed out in many kind of like people's kind of like editorials or videos or whatever you like to call them, or just downright rants. If you keep having Goldberg put down all of your current WWE stars, who's gonna be there for the future to put be the big guy and whatnot?
Yeah, but you say that, But as I said in the predictions video, if Goldberg had won the title and McIntyre wins the title back in front of fans, which is what they wanted originally, you know, because there were going to be some fans at this year's WrestleMania, it would probably have made a better match than two guys that want to just kick each other.
Yeah, and then after WrestleMania, we'll be right back where we started with going back, because WrestleMania is just going to be the only event, the attended event for this year at the moment, and to just do that one moment there and then back to the. I would
much rather have seen McIntyre win the belt off Goldberg at Mania than McIntyre destroy Sheamus to keep the belt at WrestleMania. I'm sorry, that's how I feel. Like, after Raw this week, and Sheamus basically declaring he wants the title, and we know that that's... Like, if they do the story could end up very well, you know? About the story, about how they've all come together. I don't think the match will be that good. Because no Drew McIntyre match has really been exciting to watch.
Are you hearing this, Kev?
You know, I'm just wondering when Drew's going to accidentally kill a tech that's underneath the stage.
Like, I have
with all the carnage that happened in that match. Yes, obviously.
Drew's match is not being booked well, not being laid out well. There's no fault Drew's.
The matches aren't as good as the story being told, and that's the problem that I see with the McIntyre run right now. The stories are told well. The matches are not as good, and I think whichever way they could have gone with this, they would have had a good story out of it. Whether it's Sheamus versus Drew or whether it's Goldberg versus Drew, but I think Drew chasing the title back. It's the same way as any face. A face is always better chasing the title than keeping it, and I think that's part of the problem.
The thing is, if it had gone that way, we'd have somehow ended up with Goldberg versus Sheamus.
I mean, I imagine it probably would have been at the interim thing. We would have had a McIntyre versus Sheamus story as for number one contendership versus Berg. But, you know, I still think McIntyre versus Goldberg would have been a more interesting reclaim match for Drew. I do. Honestly, hand on heart. I'm not trolling. I'm not pulling anybody's chain. That is how I feel, because I don't think a match of Sheamus versus McIntyre is going to be fun to watch.
It's going to be interesting to see what they do with Drew at Mania. Because Drew can deliver. I'm not sure, so I agree with Turbo in that. But I also agree with Pete that I don't think he's had the right dance partner.
Well, being that his previous partners have been the likes of Randy Orton for the better part of like 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, but you say that like that's not a bad partner to have, and Randy hasn't exactly been slow in the doing like normal slow Randy Orton things. Like they had that ambulance match, which wasn't slow, long, wasn't slow. You know, it wasn't fucking last man standing WrestleMania fucking slow, where a fucking ice age happened and a meteor hit the planet. Humanity was fucking destroyed and humanity repopulated the earth by the time that match ended. You know, like.
Anyway, we'll quickly move on.
I mean, we've listened to my point of view, and my point of view is it's a Goldberg match. It's a fucking WWE 2K20 whatever spam finishers match, and you know, I think
which was predictable. It was going to be,
but I still think the wrong person won.
Fine,
but you haven't heard from Kevin's thoughts.
Well, no, I kind of chipped in on both of yours. The spam finisher thing is overdone. It worked with the Brock stuff. With the what really pissed me off was that he kicked out of the Claymore.
Yeah, but
kicked out of the
Claymore's not like. It's not
the end all like, be all.
It's not like a.
Well,
it's not
like
it's not like Kenny Omega's One Winged Angel now. You know, if he pulls it out, you know the match is over until like we eventually get to that one match where someone will kick out and it'll be, oh my god, no one kicks out of that.
Yeah,
people have kicked out of the Claymore before.
Yeah, well, we live in that era now in WWE where finishers are not finishers; they're signatures. They're always signatures because everyone, you'll always have the free kick out every time in a finisher, unless it's booked differently for some bizarre reason. But
I can't wait until we actually get some WWE replay cameras whenever there's the finisher. The finisher happens, and it's immediately re-shown from 3 different angles. No, it was 2 minutes 32. It didn't need to be longer.
And granted, that was the in-game. That was that was the match time. What happened beforehand was all the scuffle. That you would have added another 3 or 4 minutes onto that.
The happiest I was with the match was Drew being smart enough to just get the frickin'. Although I said I'm not happy with him and Goldberg kicking out of the Claymore. I was happy that Drew was smart enough to just go straight to the well immediately with the Claymore and get the jump and be smart enough for that. More praising of smart people later.
Indeed.
A very different match.
So, moving on to another match. Now, this wasn't in our predictions, sadly, but I think we all saw this match coming and we kind of knew what the result was going to be. But it's the SmackDown Women's Championship match between Sasha Banks, the champion, against Carmella with Reginald in tow. This was sadly at times bad.
I can basically see why Sasha drops the belt immediately after she grabs it, because she's much better chasing the belt than holding it.
Well, it's not that. It's not only that, and of course, thanks for repeating your point earlier. I think
I will repeat my point if it's true. That's the thing, because the Sasha Banks matches have been dull as dishwater. She puts herself up. She's meant to be a face individual, and she puts herself over as a cocky heel. She's better as a heel. We all know it, but she doesn't come across that well as a cocky face champion. And I hate that fucking fake laugh shit she does. No. It's so shit. I hate it. I love Carmella's reinvention. Reginald can go in the bin. I hate the fact that Carmella always has to have somebody by her side. It annoys the piss out of me. I love Carmella's reinvention. This match was shite. This match was garbo, and I don't want to see another pay-per-view of Sasha Banks versus Carmella unless it's in the Elimination Chamber next month.
Or is that what's next?
Yes.
Is it next?
Oh,
all right.
Yes.
Blimey.
I thought it was Fastlane and they were dropping it, but hey.
Oh, why would you
Fastlane's after Mania.
It's one of those things. Why would you do Elimination Chamber? You know, the most dangerous bloody pay-per-view. Why would you do that before Mania?
I don't know. They've gone all over the place with the calendar nowadays.
Bring back Backlash for the 25th time.
As long as the main titles aren't defended in the chamber, because it's quite obvious who the champions are going to be at Mania at this point. Like, do number one contender stuff in chambers, I think will work that much better. Like, this is again, it just falls under the whole problem of just like named gimmick match pay-per-view shite, you know. Just bring it around when you need it. I'm sick of seeing Sasha Banks versus Carmella. Really, I understand why Sasha Banks has the belt. As sad as it is to say it, it's the same situation. Why? Oh my God, what's his name? The Indian world champion.
Oh, Jinder Mahal.
Jinder Mahal she's got the belt the same reason Jinder Mahal had it, because she's high in advertising circles right now, and it's annoying. But you know, we deal with what we have. Like, unfortunately, WWE just wants more eyes and money on the product, and that's how you do things. It just doesn't tell good stories in parts.
Very harsh words there.
What was some of Turbo? What was some of the highlights in the match for you?
I mean, the highlights were obviously bad ones, like Carmella. Carmella. All right.
Some bad words were said there. What were your highlights, John?
Yeah.
Mostly bad things.
Very harsh. Anyway, everything was bad.
Not to the aspect of what you see as bad, Pete, where you're seeing that the character is bad and and the bookings is bad and whatnot. No, I'm talking about what was performed in the match.
Oh god, yeah, that was pretty crap
One of the things that was performed is one of my favorite ones I keep bitching about. Stop doing dives through the ropes. Period. I'm getting sick and tired of people trying to show off and almost killing themselves. Carmella, for the love of God.
Can we get Carmella and Big E just sitting down? We can just
Put
hold a
them
class for them.
diving counseling. Dive canceling. It's like just sitting down and say, look, we know that you like to dive, but there's places that you can only do them there.
These are acceptable places, times when you do a dive. Off a diving board, off the top rope, when there is a safe position for you to land. That is it.
I think there's something to be said. Like, if people can do it safely, then do it. And if it fits the speed of the match, then do it. Like, since obviously I'm watching AEW, a lot of AEW matches are fast paced. Specs his microphone. A lot of AEW matches are fast paced, and so seeing somebody still move quickly to get out of the ring in that sort of fashion kind of makes sense. Though a lot of WWE matches are very slow paced in terms of the long term of things, like wrestling hold, throw somebody out. There's a bit of go in between and everything else. So, the only real reason to do it is if Carmella and Reginald are there, like, both being a pain in the ass. Okay, I'll take two people out at once, but otherwise, if it's just one person, specifically Carmella, just taking somebody else out, then yeah, it's not really necessary. But also, it needs to be safer, and it's kind of why I like the AEW reason of having the commentary table up on the stage, because then it's just space around the ring and nobody's going to deck themselves on a corner of table.
Even though we have rings, we still do have ringside tables for the the ring bell and all that.
Yeah, but they're like at the sides.
The ring bell is corded off, and like the ring bell in AEW is on a collapsible, destroyable table. Yes, but it's not around the four sides. It's off on a corner where no one's going to dive onto.
It's incidentally, AEW needs their own class. For those listening, they do overdo it.
Yes,
but then
Jackson M, you're coming to this class.
I mean, the problem with a lot of that is that it's a big thing in indie circles to do.
Yeah, it's just
as you have very said yourself, when you said to somebody else, "Don't sit that close, you will be jumped on."
What?
Yeah.
As Bryce yells at him, yeah, that's so funny.
It was shite.
Fair dues. I mean, granted, I thought it was all right. But just the little parts of the dangerous spots, and whatnot, just took it out. Just obviously raised my ire. But it was predictable. Sasha Banks was going to retain. I had the grander vision that was going to go into our next match. But before I finish, lead us there, Kev, do you have any additional thoughts?
No, it was 10 minutes plus, and to be honest, it felt
shorter than the pre-show match.
It felt it. It felt longer, and we're just in this place where I was watching this match. It was sort of sinking in. The feeling of the pay-per-view for me was sinking in by this point, which is I don't care. I don't care who wins this match. I don't care who loses this match. I don't care if this match stops. I don't care if this match starts.
I'll be honest. That is how I felt after these first two matches. If it wasn't for how good the two Rumbles and the Roman Reigns match was, like, this would be a shit pay-per-view.
It's I don't know. I was watching stuff. I thought, like you, John, I thought that there was a lot that was going on in the ring, which was kind of sloppy at places and dangerous at others. I don't understand Sasha's character much like you, Pete. In that she does just come across as a heel right from the blooming promo she did at the beginning before she came out, when she just came off as a heel. There's very much there's not much to sort of sink your teeth into with this match. Sasha can do so much better. Carmella, I don't know. I hope this is done now.
I have a feeling that Carmella is still going to keep herself in championship title contention all the way through to Mania. But as I said, I would much prefer Elimination Chamber to be for the SmackDown Women's Championship. I feel like there's a better match to be had there. That will probably lead into Bianca Belair going versus Sasha at WrestleMania. I think that's the story that's going to be told there. But I would much rather see an Elimination Chamber match rather than another Carmella versus Sasha match at Elimination Chamber.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Bianca Belair, let's move on to the next match, being that of the women's 30-person Royal Rumble. Now, of course, many of us obviously had our separate predictions. I predicted right, thinking that they should have pulled the trigger on Bianca Belair based on her first year results. In
do you watch SmackDown?
A wee bit.
Do you watch SmackDown week in and week out?
No. Well, I don't have a method of doing so, but you know, I read up highlights, I read up reviews and whatnot.
I'm not saying she's undeserving of a title shot. I'm not saying she's undeserving of winning the Rumble. You know, I've seen some of the NXT stuff she did, but the stuff she's done on SmackDown is dire.
Well, that's because
they've pushed her to
in the wrong way. Yes, I know. It's like they put her in these, you know, old school NXT, you know, kind of like obstacle course malarkeys, and then she got the one win over Bayley before the Rumble. I know. It's like she was, you know, kind of booked in. Obviously, to you, obviously.
And when she debuted
really
on Raw, she was debuted. She had a few matches here or there, and then she became like the impromptu manager for fucking Street Profits, and then we just didn't see her again for a while.
Yeah. I know, but of course that's because the writers obviously didn't know what to do with her there. But I would think, you know, they looked at her performance in the Rumble last year, looked at her kind of like, you know, popularity online, because obviously we don't have crowd reactions anymore, we don't have that kind of like thing, but they looked at her where her popularity was, I would think, and, you know, just pulled the trigger there. And then
honestly, hand on heart, can you turn around and say to me that you think that anything is made with Vince that checks all of these ratios and meters and metrics and everything else?
Probably not Vince, but maybe Bruce Pritchard, because he is the man, he is the in-between everyone else and Vince McMahon. And if he saw something and he tried to persuade Vince McMahon, because he can persuade him at times, Pete, you know, he has some sway because he's had that long of a relationship with him over these years. Like, it's been decades that they have that kind of like relationship. So if I've
had decades worth of friendship with people, and I could turn around to them and say something to them that goes, I think you should do this, and they'll tell me to go get fucked. So no, I don't think Bruce Pritchard could sway McMahon in any way.
Yeah, but Vince McMahon's been dead for the last 3 years, and it's just this rotting carcass marionetted by Bruce Pritchard. So it really, it's like, I agree with you. Just Bruce picking off to the side, just making.
Oh, is it the same? Is it the same puppet from the Funhouse?
Yeah.
Is it that exact puppet?
With the horns and everything.
Like if we ever get another decent camera shot from like behind the curtain, is it just going to be that puppet that's just negotiating traffic?
I still pledge myself to the idea that actually it's Puppet H that's in charge of everything still.
Yeah.
It's
The
him.
man with 3 H's.
It's the puppets pulling the strings around here.
No, I'm not. Again, I'm not saying she doesn't deserve a win. I look at it, and off just the back of it, I'm just like, there are so many other women in there I could see that would win the Rumble that I would be more invested in after watching on TV on a weekly basis, and be more interested in a match. Like, we could have had a proper Bailey Sasha Bluff, because that just ended out of nowhere. Who else is on SmackDown that could have had a good chance between? All right, I'll name the SmackDown competitors who could have been better against Sasha: Bailey, Billie Kay, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, Carmella, Tamina, and Natalya. Out of all of the SmackDown ones, I think Bailey would have been a better chance than Bianca Belair.
I think that obviously that program ran its course throughout the summer
and
the autumn.
It just ended. There was no run back. It was just Sasha won it, and then they moved on.
And how long did it take for us to get there eventually?
But
Years.
we were loving that, and it was all like so eventually it's going to get to the point where
again.
If we had Bailey win that, I would, if I was anywhere behind the direction of that team, I would fucking argue for an Iron Woman match between Bailey and Sasha at WrestleMania to have a proper
you completely and utterly bring them full circle, and you replay NXT TakeOver in the exact same way, and you play off of that, because then you're in front of a knowledgeable crowd.
Well, it's not like it's not going to happen again sometime down the line.
Yeah, but the fact is they've missed the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, they missed the opportunity now, but say like 2 years down the line, they might actually come back to this program again. Will it have the title? Who knows? I don't know, but maybe they might go for that program again and try to do a full circle and just have an Iron Woman match for their sake of pride and whatever.
If there's anyone on that roster, women's roster, that could pull it off, it's those two. But certainly from, I think, Sasha's case, together those two.
But that's not the main thing that we're going to talk about. What about the match? What about the Rumble match? Did you think this was actually a good Rumble match?
It was decent. It was better than the last year's Women's Rumble. It's been better than the last couple. I mean, there was no.
Well, you're saying that the Rumble where Becky Lynch won was worse than this one.
I mean, it's on par with this one. But yeah, I mean, there's gonna be botches regardless. But this thing had its moment. Like, it had the fun stuff between Billie Kay and Jillian Hall for a good minute. There were lots of people in the ring, which to me reads as a good Rumble, when there's lots of people in the ring and there's stuff going on.
Oh, so you like that? So you like that 24/7 spot that happened midway through as well?
You're the one that dislikes the 24/7 belt in general. I enjoy the spots that happen. I think it's a little bit different. Yes, I enjoyed it. It didn't take away from the match. A woman got another title win. It was rectified shortly afterwards. But fucking who cares? It's a bit of fun. It's there to pop the crowd. R-Truth's good at it. That's why he's still got the belt, and it keeps getting tossed over. Yeah, we know it's an inconsequential title, but they're allowed to fucking run free and do shit like that, which is entertaining. Which is what we watch it for. It's entertainment, John. It's in the fucking name of the product.
I know it's in the product, but you bloody hell, will you stop defending it so passionately?
Will you stop hating on it so irreverently?
Jesus Christ.
For the purpose of consistency in the podcast, I will again stand between the two of them and say that I probably would have hated it, bizarrely, were it not for the fact that it was Alicia Fox. The fact that it was Alicia Fox that actually won it, I really liked. Actually, I thought it was quite nice. Little nod for Alicia, who kind of got the shaft right at the end of a very long tenure, such as it was.
Yes.
So
I'll agree. I'll agree to that.
If it's a nice little sort of cherry on top for a long season.
It just shows that Alicia Fox is still on good terms with WWE.
Absolutely, and it did make sense because of the past interactions that R-Truth and Alicia Fox have had. From that point of view, the fact that Alicia, what was really funny was Alicia immediately being like, "No, get out of it." That was
yeah, and it's not like Truth got back involved in the Rumble to win the belt at that moment.
No,
they waited until Fox was eliminated, and then he got it back.
He's not he's not credited. He's not officially credited with an elimination or anything.
Nope.
No, that's later in the match.
He's not
with a guy.
Yeah, there was like nothing. Like nobody got eliminated because of it, and they,
it's one of those things where the Rumble pauses.
Yeah.
And should that happen? Well, no. There is also the thing about we can't possibly let a women's rumble happen without a freaking guy getting involved. Which is slightly more of the problem, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have we actually had one yet?
That's not the problem that you're adhering to. Your
last year, or I think it was last year. Hornswoggle was involved.
We've had Hornswoggle. We've had Santina Marella. We've had. What's his name? No Chin. We talked about earlier.
Santina Marella is officially recognized as a WWE
diva. Off, Pete. Santino Marella in drag. Let's rephrase that then. But it's like.
I'll be honest. You say that. There was somebody who came out, and I was instantly like, "No, they haven't got Santina Marella. Who the fuck was it?" It was a one name Santana. Santana came out, and I got really fucking confused. I thought it was Santina.
Santana Garrett.
Yeah,
it's enough that if you're looking away.
Well, it's also because I don't watch NXT.
Yeah, but if you're looking away at the time and it's announced, you just go. I can tell there's 6.
Look, it was fine if the 24/7 had led to somebody being eliminated by the guys, I would have taken umbrage with it. But it was a bit of fun, and saying that you hate that sort of spot in the Rumble means that you hate anything to do with the hardcore title shenanigans that have happened in previous Rumbles. It means that you hate on any sort of other run-in that has happened before, like even down to like the 2000 Rumble where it was, what was the name of Shane McMahon's Party Boy faction?
Main Street Posse.
Street Posse, when they weren't even in the Rumble and they just kept running down. Like, run-ins that are random. Even fucking, was it Kai and Tai for the 2000 Rumble as well? Or
yes.
But
that was the men's Rumble.
It doesn't matter. No one was eliminated. If anything, it was a bit of fun. It didn't take up much of the actual thing. No one was eliminated during the entire period that happened to take away from it. It's not like someone was eliminated, the camera was in the wrong position.
Fine.
We're now in danger of the 24/7 title taking up far too much of this review. So let's move on. John, tell me good things that happened in this, because there was quite a few. There was quite a few lovely highlights.
There was actually good stuff that came out of there. You had appearances from NXT stars like what was it, Shotzi Blackheart, who came in
a second appearance and deserved this,
and well deserved because she came down on her tank.
Yes, there was a big thing made out of it.
Yeah,
good.
And she shot Billy Kay.
Almost shot her in the face.
You also had Rhea Ripley making a return to.
She should have won.
Well, granted, yeah, but if Charlotte was still champion, that would have been the case. But no, it's like the program for that was simmered up during the match as well. I mean, granted, some of the stuff that when I saw Bianca Belair coming in at number 3, I was I immediately thought of the Royal Rumble 1992, where Flair came in at number 3.
Yeah,
And
you made
then I was kind
some
of like,
random weird comment that I didn't understand.
yeah, it's like because now, of course, if you join our Discord and whatnot, the Last Minute Continue Discord, we have a wrestling section there, and we talk about the wrestling there. And me and Pete, we were talking to it, talking live during it and whatnot. And I made the comment, it's not fair for Belair, because originally back in '92 when Bobby Heenan made the amazing call of when Flair entered the Rumble at number 3. It's like, it's not fair to Flair!
But all I'm saying is that comment would have made more sense if Charlotte Flair had been at number 3.
But it's
making
a different name that sounds the same, and I'm trying to be funny. But of course, you wouldn't get that, Pete, because you're not an old school wrestling fan. You're a modern wrestling fan.
No, I wouldn't get it.
Get back to Full Sail with you.
Because I'm not a fucking mark, John, like you.
They're called historians.
Dear. Anyway,
no, they're called Mark. You fucking Mark. You're not even John Turbo Finley anymore. You're Mark Turbo Finley.
Have you got the documents to, that
it's all right.
I can get that done. That won't cost me that much money.
Christ, Kevin, it's like I thought I was bitter whenever I lost a prediction, but no, this is like even worse.
You don't hold the belt long enough to get bitter. You're like old Sasha Banks. You hold it for one pay-per-view and then you lose it again.
No, he's got actually a half decent record as Mr. Finley.
Half decent.
Thank you.
Not longest.
He has a dance like better record than I do. So
anyway,
so I'm all
I mean,
other stuff.
So, I mean, there was a couple of other things that kind of like were a bit mistimed. Like they didn't catch Bayley's elimination in the match.
Oh my
very
god,
well.
this. We had 2 eliminations at the same time, and for some reason they focused on freaking Tori Wilson.
Yes.
And it's like,
because obviously she's more important.
And it didn't do anything with Bayley. It didn't. So it doesn't help Bayley, and it doesn't help Bianca Belair, because the whole you wanted to focus on that. Tori Wilson being eliminated is very much an oh by the way, picture in picture stuff.
Yeah, but you have to remember that the way that they revere Hall of Famers is that if you knock out a Hall of Famer, they've got the experience, and oh my god, you've knocked out a Hall of Famer, you know.
Yeah. But even so, they focus on the wrong person. I love the fact that they try to cover themselves after they're going, "Who's next to us?" and showing Bayley on the floor. Then about like a minute and a half later, and then just like, "Oh, what's just happened?" And they cut back to the same footage, pretending, pretending that Bayley's just been eliminated.
Like, I would have much preferred, like, I'm looking at the Wikipedia for the Royal Rumble, and basically you see the entrance and that, but I would have preferred timestamps rather than time stayed in the Rumble, you know, so I could actually, like, see at what point they got eliminated time-wise.
Yeah. A couple of other notable points for the Rumble. What was it? Alexa Bliss and her spots during it, where she comes down as the bubbly kind of like Bliss, and then she tries. She then obviously they tried to do the,
I was kind of
turn into the thing, and then obviously, whoop, taking no chances, get her out of there.
I was kind of upset that they did it like this because, but then I could also see it because it's live rather than the pre-recorded stuff on Raw, so like it's not really going to happen as well. But yeah. I was kind of upset. I was hoping that Alexa could have stayed in there for longer than a minute, but what you gonna do?
This is the point where I disagree with Pete. I was actually very happy that Alexa went out early. But, ladies and gentlemen, the award for smartest person in the entire freaking pay-per-view is Rhea Ripley.
Yes.
And not just then. The fact that Rhea Ripley is the one smart no, we're not having this. Out she goes. Sod off.
I think Rhea Ripley has most eliminations in the women's.
She has the most eliminations. She was targeting people at the right time. It was Rhea who made the call right at the end. It was like, hey, let's not do this on the thing. This is not good for either of us. Let's just get back in the ring. We'll both do nothing. We'll just get back in the ring and have this.
Oh, and by the way, everyone who said that Bianca Belair's feet touched the floor during proved otherwise. You can say it didn't happen. So stop.
It was freaking close.
Yeah, it was close, but it didn't actually happen. So stop posting that stupid image.
You can see why people did think it. You can see why people did, but everything was fine. But yeah, there was numerous times throughout the entire Rumble where Rhea was picking the right people, she was picking the right spots, she wasn't letting stuff happen, she was playing spoiler, she was, like I say, she was the most effective in getting rid of people and specifically getting rid of threats. She made the right team ups and she made the right moves at the right time. Rhea Ripley, literally the smartest person who I have seen in a Rumble for a very long time.
I'll give it that.
Okay. Was there anything else, John? Sorry.
I mean, granted, it would lead to that final bit in the Rumble where they just had like a few minutes together. Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair having a good, it was a couple of spots, and especially the double hair spot, and just go, nice work.
I think you're missing the biggest spot of all of the entire Rumble.
Oh, you mean the elimination of Charlotte Flair because they actually teamed up and stuck together and then eliminated Charlotte Flair?
I'm talking about the elimination of Nia Jax by Lana.
Well, yes, the story there continues for some reason.
Mm-hmm. I think the story is ended. I think that's the exclamation point on the story.
I hope so. If this comes back in some way, shape, or form, either in the weeks of Raw or at the next pay-per-view.
I mean, I look at all of these names on Raw, and I think only 4, maybe 5 people were on Raw for the next night.
It's one of those things. So from my point of view, already mentioned the fact that the Bayley miss was already mentioned. The stuff with Rhea Ripley obviously was great. God, Billie Kay, bless her heart.
She's trying.
I mean,
it's more
that
than what
first
Peyton
half
Royce
of the first bit of the Rumble was basically hers though.
Oh yeah,
I loved it. I loved it.
And then when Peyton came out, there was some good stuff in there. I liked it.
Yeah,
I liked the whole Billy and Jilly thing. That was quality.
Well,
it was a lot of fun.
But yeah, when Peyton came out and it was like, oh yeah, we get an iconic studio, and then there's like, and then Billy being like, she wants to, but wait, I've actually got somebody who wants to team with me now, and I can't team with you, and what am I supposed to do? That was both really sad and really funny at the same time.
It was also the point that they, I think it was Jillian Hall got eliminated by Billie Kay, and then they started working toward. And the minute they were about to do a tag team thing, the Riot Squad threw Billie Kay out, and then you had Peyton going, "Where's she gone?" And they got promptly tossed out as well. So it was kind of upsetting. But fun fact. Guess who I find out I share a birthday with? It's only one of the Iconics, and it's only Billie Kay.
Oh, wow.
Pete is the third Iconic.
That's
the Triconic.
Triconic.
He's been Australian this whole time. We just didn't know.
Shit. Secret friend. I'm on the speed dial.
Hey, at least it's not with Disco Inferno. That's for sure.
That's true. So again, as I was saying, the elimination of Charlotte Flair right at the end, where it was actually, the two young athletes just went together. Hey, let's not have Charlotte win this, and then they just stuck with it together until Charlotte was eliminated. That's actually nice to see. Mm-hmm. It's nice to see and they had a sensible thing afterwards, as I said, where it was just like logic came into play. And it was like, let's do this. Let's not do this here, because dangerous for both of us. Let's just Victoria. The Madman did it. They brought Victoria back, and then she almost died. But apart from that, it was lovely to see Victoria being treated like, oh fuck, the crazy lady's back. Was really nice.
Does anybody kind of dislike how the people who leave WWE go away, reinvent themselves, and when they eventually come back, they fall into like this fucking shitty trope of themselves from like 10 years previous?
It's WWE. They want play. You're back. Play the hits.
Yeah, I mean, we see it all the time. It's you know, it's nostalgia. Guys, sell on that nostalgia.
Yeah.
You know, try to get all those people who left us, you know, years back, and try to entice them back with what we had before.
Speaking of which, can we have no more Hulk Hogan? That's one hit I don't
Tough.
want to see anymore.
Tough. You're getting him next week.
I had him on Raw, SmackDown.
Right. So we got other good things. Ruby Riott getting offense in. Unlike last year, where the bloody Riot Squad was treated like
garbage,
shit. Last year, absolutely shit. Ruby Riott got stuff in. Of course, one person that will never ever be treated nicely and get any kind of push. Dana Brooke was in the Rumble. Everybody.
Yeah.
What has this girl got to do?
I feel so sorry for Dana. She got debuted as part of Charlotte's retinue way back in the day. Was shat on for being like a Charlotte clone.
And yet we've got this shit going. Lacey.
And now, fucking, she's been away. She had that stonking match last year or 2019 where everybody was cheering her when she got massively busted open. And everybody was really for her, and then she had to go away because of the injury. She came back, and she's doing a cool thing with, oh fuck me, who is it? I'm trying to spot it on the list. Mandy Rose on Raw, but it's just they've just fallen into a tag team, and they've just been forever feuding with Jack Baszler, and it's just,
yeah,
she's got so much better than, and you can see she's visibly better. Like on the mic and in the ring, and it's just she's just not allowed to just go ahead and do a thing. And like any singles match, she's just getting beaten down by Jackson Baszler recently. It's so disheartening. So
other things. Reginald being the official person to eliminate Carmella.
Yeah.
Go away. WWE, stop this. For the love of God.
I mean, the list I'm looking on says it was Tamina.
Actually, I kind of popped for Tamina versus Rhea. Actually, that was fun when that happened. Yeah, Natty getting the Scotty Too Hottie treatment was a thing.
I like Natalia's new look. Like
it was so weird.
Less of the pink, and it's less of the pink. No cat ears.
No black and pink.
I was all for it. Like I love that. I'm digging the new look.
We should probably get a new figure for the first time. God knows when now. But it's like it's so weird seeing her not in black and pink. I wondered what the hell was going on. First of all, I missed something. Dakota Kai got absolutely wasted. Ember Moon tried to kick Naomi's jaw off.
She did one thing and then got booted out.
She honestly the that kick she gave Naomi was stiff.
I feel.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I feel like with the exception of Rhea Ripley, like the entire NXT cast just got shat on. Right. And I think the only reason Rhea Ripley had anything is because she's been main evented with Charlotte Flair, so people know her.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there was a lot to. There was a lot. The betrayal.
Which one?
Natty and Lana. Natty and Lana.
Tamina.
Betrayal. It's like, the friends reunited. Oh, yeah. And it's like, Lana, you're not going to like this, are you? Yeah, no, wait, shit. Anyway, so reading through the Rumble, this is the eliminations as they've had. Baszler eliminated Blackheart. Kay eliminated Hall. Riot and Liv Morgan eliminated Billy Kay. Rhea Ripley eliminated Toni Storm. Victoria was then eliminated by Shayna. Rhea eliminated Santana Garrett. Bayley eliminated Ruby Riott. Pace eliminated Liv. Ripley eliminated Brooke. Flair eliminated Royce. Baszler eliminated Wilson. And at the same time, well, actually, I wonder why that. Anyway, Belair eliminated Bayley. Actually, Belair didn't get that many eliminations, you know.
No, she was just the
She was just there for ages. Actually, seriously, how many did she get? Looking at this.
2? 1? Yeah,
One,
Natalia,
two,
she got
two,
Natalia,
3. No, 3.
Natalia, Rhea
4
Ripley.
technically.
She got rid of Bayley, Rhea Ripley, Natalia.
She got rid of the last 3 technical. Well, 2 of the last 3, and the other one was a joint F. And prior to that, she just got Bayley.
I can only see 3 on the list.
Well, because she got Natalia, Charlotte, and then of course Rhea.
Mm-hmm.
Oh right, yeah.
But Charlotte was Riv Rhea.
Yeah.
But it was only sort of 4, but she got the last 3, and then somebody. I think there was 22 minutes. There was over like half an hour between the first and second eliminations. Crazy.
She did an MJF.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you do in the middle of it; it's what you do at the end.
Yep.
All right. Anyway, that was the end of the women's rumble. Filled with Nia Jax.
It was an entertaining
screaming.
rumble. It was an entertaining rumble. I just think the wrong person won.
But you also,
I'm not saying Bayley should have won it. I'm saying that there are several names in there that I think should have won it that aren't Bianca Belair. And I'm not including Charlotte Flair in that. There are several other names of people in that rumble that I think.
There are other ways for Charlotte Flair to get into the main event. It's fine.
Yeah, it's called the elimination.
oh yeah,
Fine.
being fans.
It's a long road. The road to WrestleMania may begin here, but it's a long road.
Yeah, that's true.
All right.
Jesus.
Well, let's move on to the next match of the card, which I actually thought was really good up to the botch finish.
There were several noticeable spots. Some were good.
Mm-hmm.
Some will end up on Botchamania.
Yep.
And that's all I've got to say about that.
Yeah.
It was a decent last man standing match.
Yeah, last man standing match for the Universal Championship. Roman Reigns the champion with Paul Heyman defeating Kevin Owens at the end of a very grueling near 25-minute match.
Just shy.
That was there. Kev, your thoughts?
I don't really have that many on this one. There was some great sort of creative stuff. I'm not sure whether or not the whole ow my arm, the lights are hot was real or something that Owens did.
I think that was real. It didn't look unintentional.
It was because he sort of went to the because he went to the refs and like, oh, that was hot.
Yeah.
You know.
Who was that? Reigns or Owens?
Owens when he was trying to get near the finish when they were up with that pole with all the lights on it and stuff. He sort of leant against it briefly and then just sort of screamed in pain and then went down again holding his arm because obviously there's all these lights there. So he basically and then the fan. So he basically burnt his arm on the thing, which is why I was slightly concerned because it was the very same type of like fan light arrangement that the referee's face then went into.
Yeah.
I thought the referee was going to come up looking like Randy Orton.
The ref smacked a bit of metal underneath because you could tell because the metal had moved.
No, that's actually like a fan unit. It's like a fan bit. There's a fan like cooling unit, which is bolted to it. Because it was the same thing that was underneath the twirly lights. So that was the thing I was most concerned about. Handcuffs didn't win the day.
Has somebody at WWE got a fucking fetish?
Wait. Pause the whole show. Has somebody at WWE got a fetish? Well, If you go online and
You know what I mean? Like, in the last couple of months alone, like, how prevalent have handcuffs been? Like, you can pinpoint it back
Sammy?
to the Sami Zayn triple threat ladder match, and since then, Sammy's been present with handcuffs pretty much every week on SmackDown, and at like various things as well. But like, we've got him here again. The Usos have used it against fucking Owens as well in like the cage match, and there's been other stuff on TV with handcuffs. Like, handcuffs have just been super prevalent recently. Like,
somebody made them work, and somebody wanted somebody else to have them.
Yeah. If it's going to turn out to be like, if it turns out that it's going to be Reigns versus Owens at WrestleMania, and it's not the handcuff. What was the fucking match that JBL had, which was the Texas Bull Rope match?
Oh.
If it's going to be one of those. Like, I can see.
There's going to be a table match.
It could be, but
if there's any match going to be, it's going to be a table match because
they went through so many tables in this match.
You say,
I mean, especially Owens. I mean, come on.
If Reigns has to defend his title in the Elimination Chamber, I can see handcuffs, Owen, and a wall.
Is Owens just the Foley now?
He's. I mean, on
he's a more talented Foley.
On the week of WWE TV following the Rumble, Edge was called out or addressed every champion on Raw, NXT, and SmackDown. And to kind of throw the curveball, there was a challenger at each point of those. We had Sheamus on Raw, we had Pete Dunne on NXT, and we had Kevin Owens on SmackDown, which means
Owens will be involved in something involving no DQ, so he can fall off something high. It's like which Owens is frankly better than.
I mean, he has become the spot monkey. Like,
it's something that he's been doing for years.
He's been redoing his fall off the large thing spot really a lot. Like, he's done it. I'm not sure if he did it in Hell in a Cell versus Shane, but he definitely did it versus Seth last year. He jumped off a fucking forklifted pallet at Rumble. He's definitely jumped off something relatively recently as well on one of the other pay-per-views.
Last WrestleMania, he jumped off the WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's what I've said. Like, he did it versus Seth.
It's one of those things that's overplayed with a character. It's when the character does something extreme, and it's like it's rare and it's maybe even out of character to the lengths they go. I always, when I think of like bizarre, when I think of like extreme type moments of people going from a great height, the one I actually always think of is Miz and Shane.
I think Shane and Big Show at Backlash 2001. I
can understand why you do that. But it's but certainly from sort of modern stuff, because it was so out of place, the lengths that the character would go to. With Owens, it's the same with always with WWE. Owens did an amazing feat, and now they're overplaying it.
The problem is that where we're especially on the road to WrestleMania, we know who the main champions are going to be at the end of the road. So, what do you do when you know you're not going to win the belt? You try to make the match memorable. And how do you do it? You be a fucking spot monkey.
Or you get some...
You just do memorable shit. Like...
You get a resume.
And you get shot in the face by a fucking tank. It's all good.
That really did, though. That was really close to us.
Let's be fair. I mean, other than the fact that we entered the Twilight Zone of the fucking Thunderdome outside, that was just bizarre for a start. But, like, the spots in this match are going to be the golf cart. I wonder why. Jumping off the forklifted pallet, because, you know, it looked pretty fucking good. Although he doesn't have a forklift license, so you shouldn't be trying to fucking activating the fucking forklift, Kevin Owens. You're a bad man. You can actually go to fucking get what's the word? Fined for that. Bad man.
Pete, never good. Forklift police.
I mean, I'm actually forklift trained, so I do
This
know.
is true. He is legitimately forklift trained.
But then that, like, botched or not, like, that's the most unique end to one of the last man standing matches I've seen. Like, with Reigns getting handcuffed so he couldn't stand up. You know, yeah, they botched it by the ref starting to count in when they're having problems undoing it. But yeah, it was botched. But I don't recall the last time someone's tried to win a last man standing match by tying their opponent to the bottom of something so they can't stand up.
Batista Cena.
Was somebody attached to the bottom of something?
Gaffer tape the ankles to the ring post, if I remember rightly. John, is that right?
Yeah.
And he couldn't stand up. John Cena won by freaking duct tape.
Okay, but this is a lot better than that.
Yes,
or at least a good attempt. To.
Visually, it made a bit more because Reigns had a lot more movement, and it was like, well, he could stand up, but
he can get onto his feet.
He couldn't stand up.
Yeah, the thing is that the handcuffs still tell a good story, so I think it probably would have been better for Reigns to have won that way.
Plus, obviously, it was good because it was reversing the usual, and that Reigns has been using these handcuffs, and it's coming back to haunt him, and it's doing that.
I mean, I don't think anybody expected Owens to come out of this match at all. It was a good match. It was a long match, but it didn't feel long. It was different because we actually saw the outside of the Thunderdome. Fucking some weird fucking nether space that existed with still fucking
I'm pretty certain that's where John Cena's been banished to.
Yeah, probably.
You know,
I enjoyed the match. I mean, yeah, there was a notable botch. But I think that can be blamed on the referee more than anything else. Like, if the referee didn't start counting, but checked on the other ref rather than go straight to counting. But yeah, okay, it'll get shown in Botchamania. Yeah, okay, we get it. But you know, other than that, I think it was a decent match. I got no qualms with this one.
John.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you this.
Which means that you know I've got something I want to say about what you're about to ask.
No, I'm just curious about John's point of view on this. Did it feel a little bit like it was kind of cut and paste of like, what if we put all the spots together from all the blimmin'... from all the last man standing match.
You know what? You're probably right.
It felt very much like we'll take this spot from here, and then we'll just put them together somehow.
Because that's what kind of happened was, it's like you had the big dive spot where Kevin crashed into a bunch of tables. Then you would just mosey on backstage, and then you would have another table. Well,
hey Kev, I'm gonna respond by telling you what you said to me earlier. This is WWE. We just repeat the greatest hits.
Yeah, but it did feel very much like this match to me in particular felt very much like how they set out a TV show. It felt very storyboarded. More so than obviously we know that it does happen. We know that matches are booked in such a way that it is from spot to spot to spot. But this really was like, Dick, and it just felt that. Obviously, Pete, you mentioned the golf cart thing. We know that, for those of you who aren't familiar with what's happened on Twitter, Omega pretty much said at the time, it's like, look, it happened before.
Yeah.
It happened before, far better from both the Rumble and AEW's version. It happened before, like way back. It's not new. You know, don't start making.
But people are going to reference one. To
oh God, yeah, I'll get but it's
because it's fresh memory.
And
I personally think that Owens took the hit better than Sammy. personally.
Oh God,
He doesn't do
yes.
it like he went
Well, he
through
had
it.
some plexiglass to,
Yeah, there was that. Somewhere by the way, in some dim and distant past, Raven and Kane are still trying to get that golf cart to work.
And not take out a building's electricity.
Yeah. That's so funny. But yeah, so that took away from the match for me. The fact that it did feel like it was a work of television.
The thing is that you can't watch a match and think, oh, it's going to be the greatest hits, because then, I mean, you lose a lot of everything, especially when it comes to WWE pay-per-views with, like, now we have 2 Rumbles in one evening, or when we have Elimination Chamber and have double Elimination Chamber matches in an evening, 3 Hell in a Cells in one evening.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to see a lot of duplicate spots. You can't...
Which is fine if you put a spin on it.
Yeah, well, I mean, yes, but, I mean, for what the match was itself, I enjoyed what it was, and I didn't think, oh, yeah, like... That's a spot that we saw there. I mentioned it here because we're looking at it in retrospect, but when I'm watching the match itself, I don't turn around and go, oh, he did that at Hell in a Cell, or he did that at WrestleMania.
I wasn't thinking of oh, that was then. But there came a point in the match where I was watching that, they're going to do a forklift spot, aren't they?
And wouldn't you know it?
And
right there.
wouldn't you know it? And at that point, I just sort of went, oh. And it kind of dawned on me that, okay, I'm going to see X, Y, and Z over the course of the next...
So it became too predictable.
10 minutes. It lost me from it. I've spoken about this before in that there's the suspension of disbelief, obviously, for wrestlers, but there's the suspension of disbelief for fans too. And if you're watching something and obviously you're emotionally invested in it, you know it's amazing, it's wonderful, and it's you know, this is why you get such great spectacles. When you're sort of watching it, dare I say, normally, there's still sort of this. You're aware that obviously this is what it is, but you're still going along with it. But there's elements and it's not necessarily times where people deliberately break the fourth wall and deliberately do stuff. It's when people are going and doing stuff normally, and then there's decisions made which takes the flow of it away and takes the logic of it away. I say logic a lot in these shows, but it's just like, and it's if it detracts from the match so much that I suddenly realise that, oh, I'm watching a match, as opposed to I'm watching a match. You know, it's a subtle thing, but it's still a thing.
Fair dues. I found it to be. I sadly don't have that kind of like mindset.
No.
To kind of like you know, feel like, oh, I'm just watching the greatest hits here in this one match again. But no, I mean, how I did actually enjoy what was being performed in the match and whatnot, and it was good that Owens, you know, got the majority, like after the massive table spot of where he was thrown off from the Thunderdome crowd screens. You know, he would have majority of control afterwards. You know, with, you know, even with the golf cart spot as well.
Yeah.
It's just obviously that botch ending. I was seeing it there. I was seeing Heyman having so much trouble trying to find the you know, the keyhole for the lock to get the cuffs off, and then it's like, oh dear.
It's unfortunate.
That's made it bad.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, granted, I knew that what the outcome was going to be. I knew Reigns would get the win by, of course, using that guillotine choke maneuver. I don't know what they're officially calling it. But,
they're just calling it a guillotine at the moment.
Yeah, fair dues.
They'll give it some kind of thing.
Yeah, they usually do. They usually try to make it as it's like the chief lock or the chief something or whatever to try to tie in with Roman's character.
The head basket.
Wait, he's crazy.
The
now?
headmaster. Let's call it that. This is the headmaster.
The Shock Master. Shall we move on to the men's rumble?
Yeah, we'll move on. It's like it was all right.
But we're still in. But just to say, all three of us in agreement. We're still enjoying Reigns' stuff at the minute.
Yeah.
In terms of performances, yeah.
Yes.
Just overall. Yeah.
And you're missing a lot if you're not watching SmackDown. Honestly. So good.
So men's Royal Rumble, gents.
Before we do that, I just want to point out Rosenberg, for the love of God.
Oh, here we go again.
Do never, ever try to attempt a pin on anyone ever again, cause you made it look bad in so many ways. I'm surprised that the clip of it wasn't demonetized on YouTube. Please, for the love of God, stop it. All right. Gladly, you lost the 24/7 championship back to R-Truth the following day, which was obviously it was gonna happen. But yeah, next time, don't try that pin again. If you ever tried to pin again.
Also, Bad Bunny and singing Booker T.
Oh yeah, this was like before the women's match.
Yeah.
Women's.
As somebody who likes a vast array of music in various different genres, that was shit. That was really fucking bad.
I mean, you'd probably enjoy it better if you could speak whatever
Mexican,
whatever
Spanish.
Yeah.
But even I like Spanish. I like some Spanish music as well. But it was just.
But do you like Spanish rap, Spanish hip hop, Spanish R&B?
I do have some Spanish hip hop actually on my
Spanish dubstep
a little bit.
Do you like some Spanish fly?
Fly. Like a butterfly.
Like a butterfly.
No,
Damn
fly.
Okay, right. Men's Rumble. Let's go. Men's Rumble.
Yeah. Okay, so the men's Rumble. This obviously the longest match of the card, and
no, the Rumble, the longest match on the card. No.
Well, not necessarily. We've had it the other way around. So sometimes.
He's so annoyed at me.
Oh dear.
As I was saying, longest match of the card at 1 hour. So the man.
1 hour and 32 seconds.
That's not what I've got on my one. Actually, I've got 58 minutes.
I've got 58 minutes for the women's Rumble.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've got 56 minutes for the women's Rumble. Although I've got something that says 58:50 for the women's Rumble, but the men's Rumble is 1 hour 32 seconds. That's what I have. Oh yeah, no, 58 minutes is the whole length because Bianca Belair wasn't first, was she? So yeah, that makes sense.
Interesting. Anyway, whatever the case, John, what did you think?
Well, granted, it's like it was actually all right for a men's Rumble match. However, I mean, I wasn't fully invested in because for this year, I really didn't know who would actually be going in for a title run going to Mania in this year. I didn't really think anyone would actually be going into it, especially after the results that we had prior to the match, because I actually thought feared the worst of Goldberg. He loses the match, then comes into this, and then he takes over, and boom, bada bing, bada boom, he's gonna be going to WrestleMania. But aside to that, it's like this match. I mean, it had some action to it, and it had some good spots to it. It's like I wasn't that invested, and I wasn't caring who was gonna win.
I think there were a variety of stories that were being told.
We had some setups.
There were a lot of setups there.
Well, granted, Rumbles are always the setup.
A lot of endings to stuff, but I think there were a few people in there who could have won that were down to the end, but especially that final four. That final four was fucking. Anyone could have won that final four, and I would have expected it. Well, I wouldn't have expected it, but I would have been happy with it. So, yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed it. You know.
I mean, some of it was like, I think it was kind of because it had elements of what happened when, I can't remember which year it was, when Reigns was defending his title in the Rumble.
16 or 17?
I think it might have been 17. And
but yeah, we talked about this on the Discord where Randy Orton disappeared for ages, and you turned around and went, "I'm really worried that Randy Orton's going to win." And I said, "Well, just remember back to that previous Rumble where
Roman sleeping."
Roman was
sleeping.
injured, came back, and still lost.
Well, funnily enough, that's been 2 then, because what was it? 2 times he's done. That's happened to Reigns then. So
what?
Yeah, it's like there was one time where it was like he was.
Yeah, he went in as the champion and he had to leave us about. That's the one we're talking about.
No, but there was another time where he was kind of like.
There was the one he had to leave, and there was the one where he was just like down for ages,
Oh yeah, but they took him out back for medical stuff, and then he came back, didn't they, in that Rumble. So.
But that there obviously made me kind of like remember that, and it was like, it's like, oh, very very. So that's what the supposed kind of like bad finish would have been, you know, Orton coming in and
that might
eliminating Edge.
That might well have been the one they were considering.
Yeah.
Hey, let's have somebody who's not in the Rumble for like half an hour,
think,
come back in and just win it.
Honestly, I think if Orton Fiend hadn't been good and they want to have that finisher, because it's obviously going to be Fiend Orton, like with how much they've been pushing that on Raw. Like if that story wasn't going down so well, and I think we have to thank Alexa Bliss for a fucking amazing work that she's doing with Orton on this. If that wasn't doing so well, then you probably would have seen Orton win, and then Edge probably fucking win the Elimination Chamber, what the fuck ever, for a #1 contendership, or like to win the belt, and then you have Edge Orton to end at Mania, which was what everybody expected. But Orton seems to be going on a different path. I'm quite happy with that. Just interested to see where Edge is going to go. At this moment, I'm okay with Edge McIntyre. I kind of don't want Edge Reigns, and I'd be okay with Edge Balor.
But you see, where they would want to put the marketing into. Spear versus spear. That's what I said in the chat.
Yeah.
And I disagree. I disagree with you.
Yeah, you disagree with me, and that's fine. But
thinking
fine
WWE.
that this is WWE, and they will go for the best kind of like sellable kind of like marketing that they can put. And it's like because you can hear Cole calling it right now in your head.
Can. But then I can also think that it's a better money match to not have Reigns versus Edge, because if you have Reigns versus Edge and Edge loses, you're going to get boos, which isn't going to do anybody any good, and all Reigns is going to do is come out and go, I beat another Hall of Famer, but I'd be more interested in Balor versus Edge, specifically that. Hell, fucking Pete Dunne versus Edge, I'd be well up for. McIntyre versus Edge, I'm a bit on the fence for, because if it's going to be McIntyre or Reigns versus Edge, McIntyre or Reigns is going to win, and McIntyre will get the handshake at the end of it, and Reigns will just like walk off into the sunset and not give a fuck, because that's who it is.
The only spot I can think of with McIntyre Edge is Edge going for the spear at the same time McIntyre goes for the Claymore, and Edge gets Claymored mid-spear.
Yeah, I think that's happened. I think McIntyre's been up against someone that's done a spear, or like Bobby Lashley, I think.
Probably.
Yeah, went for a spear and got kicked in the head.
Lashley's
I'd be more interested for Edge to go against one of the NXT guys. To be perfectly fair.
Speaking of Lashley, though, if they're gonna go
I loved his fucking story in the Rumble. Fucking Lashley. Oh my god, loved it.
The Lashley Big E stuff. Yes, please.
Unification.
Yes, but just have them both start going on about which belt's better. Doesn't need to be unification. Doesn't need to be unification.
I don't want unification. Like I feel like if they were going to unify any belt, it has to be the heavyweight belt.
Or
I'd want them to do what they did.
Or you do a thing where whoever pins wins, but then you put maybe Sammy in there as a triple threat.
I mean, they've literally just did a triple threat Intercontinental.
Well,
Sammy on SmackDown.
But Sammy's got gripe with both of them now. So, but in all seriousness, that interaction, that section, I was all for that. I was all for that. I wanted me some more of that, and it was like, if that's going to be those guys' program going into Mania, with some cross thing with the secondary belts, all for that. What I was also entertained by was Big E losing his shit when
Woods got
eliminated and being seeming legitimately furious. It was like all of a sudden the switch happened. It was like, oh, well, he's dead. He dead. That's it. The man's head is disappearing from his neck, and Big E will kill a man.
I like this Rumble. It told a lot of stories. I was really hyped when it was getting down to the final selection. For reference, I went and watched the 2020 Royal Rumble because they literally just put it up on YouTube not too long ago as well afterwards, and I really like because that went for the story it was telling of Lesnar versus let McIntyre just knock out Lesnar, you know? That story, fuck me, I was well up and well enjoying that entire thing. The minute Lesnar got knocked out, I was kind of just like, because it just turned into normal Rumble fare. And I was just like, damn, that was an enjoyable Rumble in the story, because you could fucking hear, like, watching that moment alone, you heard the fucking roof get fucking annihilated off the top of that stadium when that kick happened, you know. But I don't think there's gonna be something like that again. I don't think they can get away with anything like that again.
Nia Jax,
when she starts not injuring people, sure.
just hurting people.
But like, I loved it. Carlito looks jacked as
fucking hell, guys. Carlito, he is ripped as shit.
I liked, like, as much as I hate the Bad Bunny thing, the John Morrison, Miz, and Damian Priest with Bad Bunny thing was fucking really good.
He came off the top a lot better than Snoop did.
Although, granted, Snoop was trying to do a splash.
That's what I forgot to say. Fucking Sasha Banks did a fucking Snoop splash in the Rumble. Fuck me. Her elevation on that splash was so bad.
And she was taking the piss out of
him,
Snoop.
yeah. Fucking hell, I forgot about that.
The irony.
But there was lots of good stuff.
Christian
and Edge.
Oh
Christian
my god.
That is probably the highlight.
Christian being fucking cleared to wrestle again.
The
only thing I was missing, and they would have done it if there was an actual fucking audience there, would have been a 5-second pose. If they had 5-second pose, I would have fucking lost my shit.
You know what? I would have actually liked them to say that Christian has been cleared, that he has been, you know, a place where he's not been medically cleared for this long. He's been working towards it for these 7, as opposed to saying, oh, he's just not been in a ring for 7 years.
I think a large part of it is Edge getting medically cleared, after some time, and I think he went away.
No, screw it. They said, oh, it's great that, you know, we've had Edge return last year and we've had Christian return this year. I would have loved to just say that, no, this is, you know, much like Edge, he's done his journey to get medically cleared, and it's done, and it's the emotion on Edge's face when he looked up, but yes, he knew it was coming, but the reality of seeing it.
I was watching a lot of reactions specifically to the Christian stuff, because a lot of people had the same thought I was. It's like, he can't have been medically cleared. He's literally just going to come in. He'll do the Bret Hart thing where he gets the kicks and everything, but he can't really be touched. So he'll just magically fly out of the ring to something. But no, fuck me. Man was cleared. Man went for 20 minutes. Give me more of that, please. Apparently, he's going to be about making some limited appearances.
Yeah, Edge wants a tag team run. Edge wants a tag team run. And that's pretty cool. Christian got to fake Final Four as well, which is great.
It was Final Four. Orton's not Final Four. Orton's fake out.
But he got the what I like.
Then
he got what I like to call the Mr. Perfect push, as in the long time returner gets through to the Final Four.
Like Edge. Edge got the Mr.
Edge.
He got that last year.
He got that last year. But there was. I was also okay. I have noticeably not been very high on Matt Riddle. Sorry, Riddle.
Riddle. Riddle.
Riddle and Bryan.
Riddle.
Something's like, well, first of all, the kickoff was great fun, but then it was just like, okay, it's like, okay, son, let's chain wrestle in the middle of this Rumble. Sure thing.
So fucking good. You're missing the best moment of all though. Hurricane fucking Helms trying to chokeslam Biggie and Bobby Lashley and them having
call back.
None of it.
Call back to Trips Austin.
Yeah.
Yep.
Call back to Trips Austin. Also, Hurricane Helms, the man who keeps crossing the line, the first man to go from WWE to AEW back to WWE.
Yeah.
I mean, benefit of not having a fixed contract, man. I'm not unhappy with this Rumble. Yeah, it didn't have a specific story it wanted to tell, but for a Rumble that walked into being a Rumble and not having a specifically dedicated winner that everybody could predict coming, fuck me, yes, this was brilliant. I haven't loved the Rumble this much since 2001. And that's saying something. Well invested for this every minute of the day.
Your final thoughts, Kev?
I wasn't as invested in it, despite my enthusiasm, but because I was there was lots of little bits that I was like, oh, that's cool. I think the returns kind of all hit this year.
Carlito, Hurricane, Christian, Kane.
Kane got another couple of eliminations, I think.
Yeah, he did. He got Ricochet.
So it's like 18 Rumbles now, or something freaking crazy. It was there's that, but even the women's returns were all kind of. I mean, Tori's kind of like by the by; she's there every year now, but. The surprises of Jillian and Victoria were really great.
It was good to see Omos finally be that imposing figure that did something, because he got eliminations as well.
I was kind of annoyed that that's how they got rid of E.
There won't be any comeback of it either.
No, that's it. There won't be any comeback to it at all. As much as I'd love to see Big E do the big ending on the guy.
Yeah, didn't he big ended someone as well in the Rumble, and no one thought he was going to do it? Or was that last year? I'm mixed up.
It was last year. We got the not called midnight hour.
He big ended Lesnar last year, didn't he? That's what everyone.
Yeah, that was, and everyone went nuts for it.
Yeah. I don't know. It was a good Rumble. I enjoyed it. Thumbs up.
Fair dues. I mean, with this one, obviously, you're saying about returns or returns. I mean, the only NXT guy that was in this one was Damian Priest, and he had a good show in this Rumble. So hopefully he can get more.
I mean, he was on Raw this week, so
yeah. So hopefully they can do something with him.
And afterwards, in interviews, Kane put Priest over pretty freaking hard.
Oh well.
He was like super impressed by him.
Edge shook his hand on Raw as well. So
there's after again these like things like afterwards. Bailey's put up a picture on her feed of her, Edge, and Victoria, because when she was a kid, there's she's put the photo of this up too. She went to like a signing thing with and Edge and Victoria were there. So there's a picture of really young Bayley with Edge and Victoria, and now they're all on the same show together, which is a very different kind of eras, really.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy. Wrestling's crazy, folks.
Wrestling's fun. Yeah. Don't meet your heroes.
I've never seen you again, Pete.
I mean, a lot of people never do. I'm a blink and miss kind of guy.
And I'm so far up north, nobody comes and see me.
All right. Well, that's because we'll deal with that Winter King of yours that's like wandering the area.
Wrap up. Let's wrap up.
Wrap up.
So, marks out of time, boys. Pete, what do you say?
I'm going to like the last 3 matches saved it. Like 50% of the show was good, but the Rumbles were obviously a large part of that as well. I had no problems with either of the Rumble. Enjoyed pretty much all of the time spent on those. I'm going to give it a solid 8.
All right, Kevin.
A score will probably annoy you. Whilst I kind of struggled with this pay-per-view. Whilst there were, like I say, there were lovely moments, and I know WWE's all about moments because they love moments so much. The actual, whilst there was stuff going on in the Rumble, the actual Rumble, for me, the Women's Rumble was, until again, apart from some very specific bits, was kind of for me. I've already said about Reigns Owens. And, Drew and Goldberg was what it was. And Sasha and Carmella was, dare I say it, a Sasha Banks match at the minute. There was lots of stuff that I really liked and was really happy to see from a deep, in the heart as a long-term fan point of view. And of stuff, of people coming up and getting their time. And then there was still a load of stuff that was very much... This is WWE programming. So I'm actually going to give it a 6. It is not the worst Rumble we've seen by any stretch of the imagination. It's not the worst Rumble pay-per-view that we've seen by any stretch of the imagination. And I was entertained, but at the same time, it was kind of a struggle at points.
I can understand your points of view on that. Though, granted, I might have different viewpoints for how the matches were all worked out and whatnot. But I will respect your score and match it. I will call this a 6 as well. Not for the same reasons, but a couple of things here and there obviously changing around, and obviously my opinions on certain matches a little differ. And whatnot, and how things were out. Like, I liked how the outcome of Drew and Goldberg were, but of course, it is typical Goldberg affair. It's very quick, very instant. We've seen it all before. Sasha Banks, Carmella, wasn't really greatly invested in that. I was invested in Bianca winning, the women's match, obviously, and glad she won. But there were still moments in that where I wasn't that greatly entertained. Probably the match of the night for me, I think, would have been the last man standing match. But of course, the botch obviously hurt that quite plentiful. But of course, I just like I did like the spots, but I can understand your point of view for how it was structured. And then the main Royal Rumble, men's Royal Rumble. As much there was really good workmanship and there was really good stories being told and whatnot, it just wasn't gelling so much. But I didn't think it was a terrible Rumble. I can definitely say that much. It's not like 2016, 2017 era, going back, those kind of like Rumbles, things like. I still put the 2020 Rumble over the 2021 Rumble, but by no share of the imagination that the 2021 Rumble was any bad. but I do agree with your score, Kevin. I'm gonna match it 6.
I'd hate to see what he would have gone through if he didn't respect your opinion but matched your score. I'd hate to have seen what that would have been like.
Oh, it's fine. Honestly, it's one of the. I think we've got to lads. We've got to remember that what we saw was in no way the 2019 Rumble or the 2018 Rumble. We are in a blessed space in 2021.
Let's have
great
more
comparison.
Let's just have more unpredictable Rumbles going forward. You know.
That was it. Because the thing that sort of was in the little back of my mind is like, oh, anybody can win this Rumble, and yet all the way through I was kind of thinking, nah, that's not the case. It was the most open Rumble ever, and yet at the same time, not.
You wanted a definitive kind of like person to
it would
be
have been nice
in that.
It would have been nice if it had been like the first time in goodness knows how long somebody out the box, you know.
I look at wrestling as a lot of fun, but I also look at it from the type of like, have you been a world champion before, or do I think you're going to be a good contender in a match I think is going to be WrestleMania worthy for a title match? And that's how I look at it. And that's why I have my opinion on the winner of the Women's Rumble, and that's why I'm okay with the winner of the Men's Rumble. It's as simple as that, really. Like, that's why I was happy with like the Final Four. Like, all of those guys had been world champions in their own right, and like I could see them in a decent WrestleMania match of some variety. You know, it's good. Enjoyed it.
Also, though, from the men's point of view, what's Miz gonna do?
Cry.
Got to cash in before
he has to cash in before Money in the Bank.
Oh, is it Money in the Bank?
Yes. Even though he got reissued it, it's still time locked.
It's still time locked to that. I thought it was still like time locked to Mania for some reason, even though they moved it.
He will probably do the cash in at Mania, I think, to try and get away after a big Mania match, but he won't do a Rollins to get away with it. Like, he'll get annihilated.
Oh my god!
I imagine what's going to happen is it's going to be McIntyre and Sheamus. They're going to kick each other with their fucking kicks. They'll both be down. Miz will run down, but he won't win it.
Suggestion for you: Miz cashes in and wins the NXT title.
No.
How big of a fucking heel would Miz be? The guy who's always said...
Well, here's the thing. We've already had that with the women's title last year, where Charlotte won.
Yeah, but that was pre-done. But what if he cashes in, interrupts, and takes that?
That was heat. Then that will be.
But Charlotte was still one of theirs. Charlotte's still NXT.
Miz would get booed out of the building.
Exactly, because he's the antithesis. He's deemed by the fans to be the antithesis of NXT. So, how big of a freaking heel would he be?
Could you imagine Vince turning around to fucking Triple H and going, right, I'm having Miz cash in and win the belt from...
Miz Adams winning the belt.
From like Balor or Dunn. But
I think Trips would see that as like how big of a massive... Because even the heels would hate Miz. Even the heels would hate Miz. Because the heels are still...
NXT.
The heels are still consider themselves NXT.
I don't know.
Miz would come in like freaking Lawler.
Okay. Let's wrap this up.
We'll talk to that when that bridge comes. So, thank you very much for watching or listening to this last minute kick out review of the Royal Rumble 2021. We will just end this here. Kevin, where can people find the group as a whole on the socials?
Why, John? The group as a whole? Well, if you're listening to this on the podcast form, did you know there's a video version of it where you can see our gorgeous faces?
Why would you do that?
Trust me, just look for it. It exists on YouTube. However, we do exist on Twitter as a collective, some sort of horrendous gestalt of the three of us, which you can find on the Twitter handle at Faces in Peril. For me personally, I am at the Kevin Eva. Alternatively, you can find the general sites stuff at Last Min Continue. Mr. Pete, where are you?
On the internet.
In which location?
Many places.
Many places. All of which will be up below in the
You
description.
can find me. You can find my personal account on Twitter at Titans Creed, where I post several times a day, generally innocuous bullshit. Otherwise, if you want just the gaming stream for videos or streams, you can find it at Gaming Phoenix. You can find me over on Twitch at twitch.tv/Project Phoenix Productions, or you can find VODs and YouTube stuff of various maniacal feelings at youtube.com/Project Phoenix.
And
And
you.
with myself, with myself, you can find me on the socials at TurboXLR. That's my personal Twitter and Instagram if you're ever wanting to see more pictures of this fine face, as well as checking out the live streams that I do over on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/TurboDrive Live, where I'm pretty much there 5 days a week, so you can check me out anytime. It's currently a theme going on, so if you like a lot of Sonic, you know where to go. And with all that said, that is another Rumble out of the way, and me, champion once again. We'll be back next time. I don't know when. But,
we'll be back next time for Elimination Chamber, where John will lose his belt as he is a transitional champion. Bye, everybody! Bye!
Yeah, just like the TLC that we reviewed last year.
I wasn't transitional. I've only been a 2-time champion. Longest.
We'll see you next time, people.
Bye, everybody.
Ta-ta.